Hi everyone, thank you for joining in with us today. So today we are going to talk about some domestic violence. So domestic violence is a pattern of abuse behavior in any relationship. This can be physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or even psychological actions. And then this can be even threats, being threatened. So this can be, typically it is in men threatening a woman or a man physically assaulting a woman. And domestic violence is a serious issue that affects millions of women every year. This is why we came up with a call to action that we found. When we work together, we can change things. Every action matters, whether it's helping survivors, volunteers at a nearby shelter, or pushing for legislative improvements. Let's support survivors, give voice to their experiences, and strive toward a day when domestic abuse is completely eliminated. And this is very important. That's why we're putting this little video together, is to help bring awareness to domestic violence and how domestic violence is shown out in the real world, and ways that you could get help that you may not know how to get help. And this is where a Senate Bill 158 we found helps domestic violence that people who are affected may not know. So this bill does not allow the person to get out of jail for 24 hours. So if they get arrested for any type of domestic violence abuse to a family member or another person, they cannot leave jail for 24 hours. This on bail. So this allows the victim to go and receive other type of helps, whether that's to go to a shelter, go to a family member, or pack up all of your stuff and leave. That allows the victim to finally be able to leave, because a lot of victims don't know how to leave. So this is where we're going to lead into Caitlin. Caitlin's going to give you a little bit of a personal story that she has.
Thank you, and hello, my name is Caitlin, and today I'm going to be making our segment a little bit more personable by letting you guys in on a little insight of my personal experience with domestic violence, along with the impacts that it had on me and the potential impacts that it could have on victims in general, according to different sources. So for starters, I witnessed my mother be in a domestic violent relationship with my father from the age of 7 to 13. And this alone impacted me because it led me to believe that what was going on was right. And that just goes to show off back that domestic violence relationships doesn't only impact the victim, it can impact the children and the support system and etc. But to piggyback on that, I also experienced being in a domestic violent relationship with a former boyfriend of mine. And my biggest impact, in my opinion, was the way that the way I formed relationships and how little my trust became. I feel like being in a situation where I had little to no control, I was prompted to want control over everything, which kind of pushed people away. And I became isolated. And within that isolation, I discovered as well that I had a form of PTSD. And for me, that looked like, a hand raise, or somebody raising their voice, or just somebody touching me in general. I'll become fidgety, or bring myself back to that moment when I did not have control, which also caused me to be defensive. But those are just a little, or a couple impacts that it had on me. But it can also impact the victim. One, a victim could become depressed, and depression looks different for everybody. And for two, I feel like being in domestic violence, it kind of makes you feel secluded, and it makes you feel little. And a lot of victims that don't know how to leave, don't know the different resources on like who you can contact, doesn't feel like they have a support system, they get it the worst. So that's something to just take into account. Not everybody is blessed with a support system. Not everybody is in an environment where they're provided resources. And yeah, I feel like I was too, and my mother as well, in one of those environments where they didn't tell us about domestic violence resources or hotlines or shelters or things of that nature. So it was one of those situations where it's like, you know, she felt like she had no choice. And it's multiple victims that feel like that. But to just wrap it all up, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit about my personal experience to let you guys know that domestic violence isn't just an article or a news segment or statistics. Like, this is real life, and people, real people in everyday life go through it, whether it's the older generation, the younger generation. You may not know that the person is going through it, but this is a real thing. And yeah, just wanted to shed a little light on it. But thank you for listening, and now I'm going to pass it to Chelsea. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. I'm Kelsey, and I'm going to be going over some statistics that are related to domestic violence. The first one being, on average, 20 people per minute are abused by their partner, equating to about 10 million people a year. In total, 24.4 million people have been stalked in their lifetime, and this is including women and men. 72% of murder-suicides involve an intimate partner, and 94% of those victims are female. Studies show that domestic violence correlates with a higher rate of depression and suicidal behavior. 1 in 3 women have experienced physical violence by an intimate partner. Women ages 18 to 34 experience the highest rates of intimate partner violence. Almost half of all women and men have experienced psychological aggression from a partner in their lifetime, and the statistics of this are about 48.4% women and 48.8% men who have experienced psychological aggression. And then 3 in 10 women and 1 in 10 men in the United States have experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking from an intimate partner. And now I'm going to send you over to Elizabeth, who's going to inform you on some resources that are available to domestic violence survivors.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and today I'll be talking about the resources we all have come up with to help the victims of domestic violence. Before I dive into the resources that we have, I just want to put it out there to the victim of domestic violence that you guys are not alone. We are in this together. We are here to show you the support, the love, the care that you guys needed. You guys are not alone. We all are in this together. So let's get into it. So the resources that we have for the victims of domestic violence are the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is the 1-800-799-7233. This is where you can give them a call if you have any relative, family members who is victim of domestic violence, or you need to report a case about domestic violence. So moving on, we also have some organizations that help the victims of domestic violence. The first one on the list is the Julian Center. This is located in the North Meridian Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. It is the largest domestic violence shelter in Indianapolis. As the logo says, it says it is a place to get help, and it empowers survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence to create a community where every individual with abuse is safe and respected. They help you create a community where you will be safe and you feel respected. And the other organization we recommend is the Common Place. This is located on the east side, East 38th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. They have different kinds of services, and their services are the transitional housing, the well-being services, and the children's services. The transitional housing is a place where they help survivors live rent-free in their own fully furnished apartment. If you're a victim of domestic violence or you're going to domestic violence, they help you have your own apartment that you can be for a while, just for you to get help and all that. The other services they have is the well-being services. This is the services that help trauma informed and survivors with to focus on healing and be independent. They help you focus on your healing. They help you with any help. They help you get the help you needed. They help you get the maximum attention you needed to help you overcome the issue of domestic violence, which we think it's a very good one for victims of domestic violence. And the other services they have is the children's services. This is the services that supports the domestic violence victims' children with program and opportunities that allow the children to thrive and just be kids. They help the kids of domestic violence to be kids and not go through what the parents go through, what the mothers go through, and not that. This is a very good place for kids to be just kids and be their own, be the kids they want to be, not the kids or the children of the victim of domestic violence, which we think it is a very good services for victims of domestic violence out there. And we thank you. Just like I said, you guys are not alone. We're in this together. Get the help you needed today, and you will see one. Thank you.